Hey Matt, this is Adrian Gomez. Pleasure working with you yesterday. Just want to make sure that we get this video analysis going, start understanding what we're missing. So right out of the gate, out of your back leg, you squat very, very, very well. In low hundreds is amazing. Close to 90s is something that you're doing a great job of. So I want to keep that going. So as you progress through this and you plant, now we didn't have cleats on, so this could be affected by it, but right now out of our leg we're about 92 degrees. This is not bad, but we want to be at 110 degrees. So what needs to happen is this leg needs to extend probably another foot, and we need to drive further. Part of the reason why this is happening is this back heel is not rotating up. I mean, it should be up and over this way and going through. See how now it's going, and we want that to be earlier, just so that you're right here, you're not pushing, you're just rolling your back foot. So we want to be able to keep contact to that rubber a little bit longer and drive. So what I would do is I would just have that back leg longer on that rubber to be able to drive through and have that hip pop or that heel pop up, which is going to drive that heel or that hip forward into that front leg. So that extension with your leg can definitely be improved, and that's going to increase your velocity for sure. Looking at that front leg from both sides, at plant foot, we're right here. See here. Plant. See here. Plant. See this knee, and as you rotate, we're moving that knee about 18 degrees. What that means is your back hip has to wait until your knee gets over your ankle, and when it does that, your back hip is just late, and it could be so much more powerful. What you do a really good job of, though, so this knee needs to be open at plant foot, but right here this is advanced, and basically your knee's retracting and your hips are rotating forward and your chest is going forward, which is really good. So let's measure this. 143. Anything above 135 is pretty good, but it's even retracting even more. We're getting like 155, which is absolutely phenomenal here. Lower half looks pretty good. Let's look at ball release. Ball release is right over that front foot, which is pretty good. You're close to a late launch, and there's some factors in there. I mean, the extension with your leg just driving a little bit further out would help, but we're going to get into the release point. So right here, your release point and your posture at ball release is what we call a B posture. This would be an A posture. You are at a B posture. C posture would be way over in here. So what that means is when you come up and your chest is in front, all of a sudden you've got to drive that chest through, and that change in head is, let's see here, 28 degrees, which is not too crazy, but it's enough to where you're talking about 4 inches that it could affect your command. Okay, so your posture is a B posture. What that means is we want you to start back a little bit further. We're talking 3 or 4 inches back with your chest or your head, and that's going to keep your head on target and be able to drive through. So moving next into front glove. Front glove, let's look at your front glove. It stays up, it's connected, and it starts dropping right away. Pinches early, that looks pretty good. This one, the one on the right, actually looks better. But we want to make sure that this shoulder blade stays pinched and continues to rotate, because that's going to bring around this chest. So any instability in your front arm is going to show up in your throwing arm. Arm's just a little bit low. Okay, so now as we get into this, let's get into your chest, your high elbow or low elbow. Right now you have a measure off your elbow. Elbow's a little bit low. We're talking about 9 degrees. What that means is right here your elbow's a tiny bit below your shoulder. Let's see here if we can get this. It's almost the same. So when you're low, your elbow is going to drag through and stay low. So I want to make sure that we minimize this. We bring this up just a tad bit, maybe an inch or maybe less, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches, and make sure that shoulder blade pinches so that when you come through here, you're more on top of it, on top of the ball. So watch this. So as you come through, so you have a low elbow, so we need to just pinch better in the back end, and your front glove's going to be helpful as well. We just want to make sure that you're stacking and staying back. So you're right up in here, and I want you to be back in this direction, and not forward, but back that way. The longer you can stay back, the earlier you're going to be able to pinch that shoulder blade and be able to drive through. So let's look into chest extension. You're going to release point right there. Your chest extension. Let's see here. This again. About 34 degrees, okay? So what we want to get to is 48 degrees. So we're missing literally 3 or 4 inches. That's all we're missing. So we got to get you to drive that chest better for 2 or 3 inches further, and what that's going to do is going to push this ball out further past your front foot. That's going to put a lot less stress on your arm and your elbow and your shoulder, and it's going to get late movement, it's going to get increased velocity. All of these great things happen out there. The bad things happen back in here. Great things happen out in front past your body. So here we get into arm fly out. That's at external rotation. Your external rotation right here is not a lot, and that's okay for your age. So basically, if this was going to be 90, you know, we're about 24 degrees off of that. As you get bigger, stronger, faster, that external rotation is going to get better. The external rotation is always also going to get better by driving that chest further. And the external rotation is where we get power. Now we got to take care of your shoulder, we got to do the arm carry, we got to do the bands, and that's why we're going to avoid a lot of injuries to the infraspinatus. That's got to be strong so that all the trap and the lat and all of that is not taking over all of those jobs by the lack of strength in your infraspinatus. So watch this. So this is your maximum external rotation. If I cut your elbow in half right here, okay, watch how your hand gets outside, and this is what we call a arm fly out. So you're flying outside of that elbow, and it's because of the chest extension, and it's because of your wrist going out, and we got to make sure that your chest is driving forward over that front foot. I want to get this over that front foot right here. So this chest over that front foot, and then all of this stays right over that elbow. That wrist should stay right over that elbow, but it flies out, and that's why we're missing some strikes, and then we're missing a little bit of velo as well. So let's look at crossing the acromial line. I don't have any issues with your acromial line. So these are all of the weaknesses that I see. There's some small changes. I don't want you to get frustrated at all. I think you have a great lower half that's going to help you power your pitches, but at the same time, your upper body is going to really increase your ability to command the strike zone. So thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of 212 Athlete. Thanks, man.